Hi everybody, welcome back. I'm Dorothy. I'm a professional astrologer and you can find me on the web, nhastrologer.com. You can click that little icon you see in the top corner there and that will take you right to my website. Today I want to talk about the month of July, and this is for those of you who are Libra or have Libra rising. So on the 1st of the month, 1st of July, we have a full moon in the sign of Capricorn, and that is in your 4th house. So that is going to be an interesting full moon, because that 4th house, when we have that, if you have Capricorn down on the 4th house, or you already have a chart that is flipped from what the natural energy is all about. So you will have already in your life this dynamic of of the seesaw effect of work and home, home and family, back and forth. So this is going to be the theme for the month especially. So when we have a full moon in Capricorn in that 4th house, work might be demanding more from us than we're willing to give, especially this time of year if you're in the northern hemisphere, just because it's the middle of the summer and we want to spend more time with family and away from work. So there is something going on here with that full moon in the 4th house, which does represent home, family, and there is some type of an awareness going on at home where something you've been ignoring will come to your attention so you can make the change that you need to make. So the area of your life that's all about your home and your family will suit you better, whatever that is for you. Very different for everybody, but that's what it will be for you. Next I want to move on to July 6th. On July 6th, we have the sun still in that sign of Cancer. It is in an opposition to Pluto. And so Pluto is in Capricorn down there in that 4th house. So we have, again, here's that opposition that we just had with the full moon on the 1st. But now the full moon has triggered Pluto, and a few days later the sun is now triggering Pluto. And what does that mean? That just means that there is some major shifts going on in your home. At home, there is something going on that is changing for you, especially if you have Libra rising. This is more about ascendants and rising signs than it is about sun signs, truly. And so if you have Pluto moving through that 4th house sector, you know that there is some upheavals and some shifts and changes that have already been going on, especially since 2008. So there's nothing new here. But once a year, the full moon triggers this piece. And once a year, the sun is in an opposition to this. So right now, there is something else that's coming up for you. Now, from that 10th house, where the sun is, on July 12th, it's also making a square aspect to Uranus. And Uranus is in that 7th house of relationships and partnerships. So your 4 angles, the cardinal angles, are getting triggered majorly this month for you. And so that just means that there is major shifts in home and family, like I just mentioned, and in your partnerships. We also have the new moon in Cancer in your 10th house, your career sector. So there might be something going on. Mainly what it looks like to me is that there's a big shift going on at your career, in your career, or whatever it is you're known for publicly. There's something going on there that is requiring a major adjustment for you. And it will affect every area of your life. The major issues of your life, just because of the dynamic of all these being cardinal energies. And the cardinal energies being on your angles. So the energy of this is dynamic. And it's really, there's nothing, it's not bad, it's just about change. Change is something that happens always. A lot of us are fearful of it, myself included. Fear of the unknown. But the point is, it's like we're all in a transitional point. The energies of this world is in a transition, and for you, it's just very personal. So home and family, your relationships, your partnerships, and your career are all going through a major shift. I know. On the 18th, with Mercury in Cancer, that means we can get very compassionate or emotional about what it is we want to say, because that Mercury in Cancer, just like the sun is in Cancer as well, makes a square to Uranus, which is, like I said, in your 7th house. The Sun just made a square to Uranus. Now Mercury's making a square to Uranus on the 18th. And I'll just jump ahead real quick. Mars on the 25th is also making a square to Uranus. So with the Sun there on the 12th, Mercury squaring Uranus on the 18th, you have an opportunity here to change something and shift something. Become aware of what is not working so you can make the changes. Because by the time the 25th rolls around and Mars in Cancer squares Uranus in Aries, Mars square Uranus is volatile. There's so much energy behind that square. That just means there's tension, tension, tension. Then finally it breaks. It's like an earthquake. You know, the earth plates are just pushing together. That's Mars and Uranus tension. And then finally they shift and it causes some problems and then we have to react and respond, and then we get back into order again. So we have many opportunities. Everybody is going through these transits. It's just where it's happening. That's the important piece for each zodiac sign. And even though you might have Libra rising, it might not be exactly in these houses anyways, because these houses are not equal. But that's another whole story. All right, let me back up just a smidge. So on the 22nd, the Sun moves into the sign of Leo. That goes into your 11th house. And that's an area where you're able to really set some major goals, some good goals. That 11th house represents, you know, the groups that we're involved in, the social things that are important to us, and also where we can set goals, our dreams, our hopes, our dreams. And when the Sun moving through that sector, that gives you a great opportunity to set some new goals. But that, you know, everything, you know, the Sun, Mercury, and Mars making from Cancer, emotional Cancer, making that square to Uranus and Aries requires some shifts and changes. So you'll be going through some shifts and changes, and that's A-okay. Trust that it's all right for you. We also have on the 25th of July, we have Venus in the sign of Leo. It's been going through your 11th house for a while, so that just means that you've had a lot of activities and you've been valuing a lot things that represent, you know, your social interests, the things that you're interested in as far as helping the world, helping others, being with friends, groups, those things that are important for you, and your hopes and dreams as well. It's in Leo, but it goes retrograde. So it's retrograde from July 25th to September 5th. And since it's in that retrograde motion, it's just really important to pay attention to what's coming up in regards to our romantic relationships, but also to how we're handling our finances. It will be in the Sun Leo all the way through October, but the retrograde period is the important piece right now with Leo. All right, I want you also to think about if you are looking at getting married or committing in a relationship at this point in time. If we do that while Venus is retrograde, that usually means that there's a lot of karma involved in the relationship. So if you're working on karma from past relationships or karma from childhood issues or even past life stuff, there is usually a lot of karma involved with people when they get married during the Venus retrograde. All right, I'm going to finish up with July 31st. And on July 31st, we have the second full moon of the month. So this is an astrological blue moon. It's in the sign of Aquarius, and that is in your 5th house. So we have the Sun up there in the 11th, the full moon down there in the 5th house. This brings an awareness to you. We started with an awareness in our 4th house of home and family, and the other awareness that comes up with the last full moon is all about, you know, the things that we're passionate about, the things that we're willing to take risks on, where we're willing to risk our heart or our finances. So this full moon in Aquarius in your 5th house represents what I'm passionate about and taking those things that we want to take risks on because we feel passionate about something. But I'll tell you more about that. So we have 2 full moons and a new moon. Come back to the channel when we get closer to those time periods. I do create a video for each one of those individually. Just a generic one. It's not generic, but it's just about the energy. It's not per sign. This is per sign. Thank you very much. And I want to say blessed be. And namaste.